Are we live, Mickey?
No, we're not. You'll be. Yes, we are now live. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. So, start with item 1. Apologies for absence received from Councillor Liss. Any other apologies?
None others have received, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. So, item 2, declarations of interest. Members are requested to declare the existence and nature of any disclosable pecuniary interest and/or other interest not already on their register of interests in any item on the agenda and withdraw from the meeting at the appropriate time. Councillor Dale and Councillor Cupid.
Can I declare an interest then in item 4? Yes, 4.
Of course, item 4 and Councillor Cupid the same as members of Ricknell Board. Any other declarations? No. Item 3 then, minutes of the last meeting. So the minutes of the meeting held on the 14th of May have been circulated. Can we have a proposer, please, that they are a true and accurate record? Thank you, Councillor Powell. Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Parkin. All in favour? Thank you. That is carried. Thank you. Item 4. So I think just to allow Councillor Dale and Councillor Cupid to leave the room.
If I might, they don't have to.
They don't have to. Thank you, Mr. Sternberg.
Not on this occasion, because of the nature of what you're discussing. It doesn't require them to leave.
Just when we thought we could ask you to go. Okay, thank you, Mr. Sternberg. We nearly got them out. Over to you then, please, Councillor Powell. I think you muted yourself, Councillor Powell. Thank you. You're on.
That's better. Thank you. The purpose of this report is to appoint directors to the 4 housing companies in the New Housing Services Group. We have seen most of this before, and the council gave approval at its last full meeting for the proposal for the companies concerned. They are a holding company and 3 subsidiary companies, being Ricknell Housing Limited, a DevCo, and a trading company, so that the establishment of the companies could be expedited. Mrs. Sternberg became a director of all of them, and my understanding is she's anxious not to be a director and hand over the reins to others. So that's the intention of this paper, basically. You will see that in the appendix there are the names of those directors. Unless anybody has any questions, I will go straight to the recommendation, Chair.
Any comments or questions? Not Councillor Powell, for you to the recommendations, please.
I will make, therefore, the recommendations contained in 6.1 and 6.2. The members outlined in the appendix are appointed as directors of the 4 companies as shown, and note the appointments of the non-exec directors.
Do we have a seconder for that, please? Councillor Kenyon, thank you very much. All in favour? Thank you, that is carried. So congratulations to the new directors. So item 5, environmental health update. Over to you, please, Councillor Cupid.
Thank you. Yeah, this is just to provide a detailed update on, I think, what has been one of the probably most frontline or front-facing services during COVID-19, and which already, I think, as we've discussed at Cabinet in the past, had some challenges and some backlogs, particularly with regards to things like food safety, which is referenced in the report. That backlog was brilliantly fully cleared prior to COVID, I think, and the Environmental Health Service has fully detailed quite comprehensively in the report, has fully risen to the challenges of COVID. be that the assisting businesses and supporting businesses to reopen or remain open, takeaways and things like that, but also a significant increase in service requests in terms of noise complaints and things like that. And obviously also the lockdown legislation and complaints in regard to that. I think the service obviously being usually quite front facing with regular visits and inspections, that's also provided significant challenges to environmental health. And again, I think they've risen to that fantastically by going to new means of technology and regular briefings. And I understand that the environmental health service has also been key on the sort of growth and business side, because they have the most contacts with businesses due to usual environmental health inspections, etc. So it's helping us to support businesses with what they need and help get the economy in the district back on track. So yeah, this is just a report primarily to note and to note that given the changes, particularly in terms of technology that we've been looking at and moved to over the last few months, that potentially we can sort of input that and integrate that into the wider environmental health review that we're looking at. So yeah, this is very much an interim report, but I just want to place on record as well, which is contained within the recommendations, our sort of thanks and note to the Environmental Health Service and all the officers within it for their work.
Any comments or questions?
Yeah.
Councillor Parkin?
Madam Chair, thank you. Yes, I'd echo Councillor Cupitt's comments there about the excellent work that the environmental health have been doing during the period of the COVID outbreak. But not only that, but actually for the whole year. So I think we do need to show some gratitude for that during that period.
Councillor Parkin, I think everyone would agree with that, and also other sections of the staff, of course. I think the hope would be that when all of this is over, that due recognition for the hard work of all sections that have stepped up to the plate during this time will be recognised. I'm sure the Cabinet would support that. Any other comments or questions? If not, back to Councillor Cupitt then to the recommendations.
Thank you, Chair. Just to move recommendations 9.4 1 to 4.
Thank you. Do you have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Dale. All in favour? Thank you, that's carried. Item 6 then, annual status for air quality report. Over to Councillor Cupitt. I know it says in the agenda Councillor Kenyon, but don't worry, Councillor Kenyon, I won't be calling on you to give this report. So Councillor Cupitt, please.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I think this is primarily, obviously, links in with Councillor Kenyon's portfolio and climate change for air quality and some other things, but this is primarily a statutory report from an environmental health perspective. It's a statutory report and it's been submitted, but I thought it would be useful for it to come to Cabinet, primarily to note and to raise sort of awareness and recognition to it, because I know residents across the district and elected members often raise with me sort of queries about air quality and whether there are any issues within our district. And this quite clearly shows that environmental health have regular monitoring of that, and fantastically we haven't got issues with air quality in our district. So I thought that was a really important thing for members of the public to be reassured of our members. So yeah, so pending any questions, I move recommendation 6.1 just to make this report.
Thank you. Councillor Rennick?
Yeah, thank you. That's an interesting report. I noticed it dated November, I think, 2019. I just wondered out of interest, is there a specific date the air quality control is actually monitored, and how regular does that happen? I just would be interested to know if that's going to be done in recent times when we've had less traffic on the road.
Yeah, it's throughout the year, I think.
Yes, Karen.
Thank you. Yes, it's an annual report. We have a continuous air quality monitoring situation. So we have equipment out and about across the district. We're currently constantly looking at that and receiving recommendations, etc., from various government bodies. It's very, very high up on the government list of priorities, obviously prior to COVID-19, in terms of the work they're doing around air quality and meeting the required European standards, etc. So it's a continuous situation and we report on it annually.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Councillor Kenyon?
More really just to say, obviously it does have a big overlap with the climate change agenda. And I noticed in one of the appendices, I think it is, there's a big list of projects that does overlap a lot with that, and maybe offline we should have a think about how we want to structure that going forwards.
Yes, I think that's actually a suggestion. Maybe your climate change group, Councillor Kenyon, could perhaps dissect this report maybe and look at some things in detail and take out of here some good practice or things for specific work and examination. I think that would be a useful piece of work to do. Okay. I'm sure Councillor Cupid would support that.
Yes, I fully agree with that. Chair.
Any other comments or questions? Well, recommendations have been moved already by Councillor Cupid. Do we have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Powell. All in favour? Thank you. That is carried. Thank you. Item 7 then, policy updates. So performance, team, corporate governance information. So over to Councillor Dale.
Yeah, so this is dealing with 3 policies that we are being asked to approve. Previously, we used to have a combined freedom of information, environmental information regulations, and the data protection policy, a combined version. We've decided to separate that out partly as a means of strengthening GDPR factors. So we have a joint data protection policy, a joint access to information policy, and a joint overt use of surveillance systems policy, which is for those circumstances where we have kind of body-worn video or CCTV, for example. We're required to have these, as all local government organisations are. Kath is here. I understand if there's any technical questions around some of the detail. Hopefully you've all read the reports. They're all riveting read. But I'm sure Kath will answer any direct challenging questions around the reports. But other than that, I'm happy to move office recommendations that we adopt all 3 of the reports, the policies.
Thank you, Councillor Dale. Any comments or questions about the policies? No. Oh, you've got away scot-free, Kath. So Councillor Dale's already proposed. Do we have a seconder, please? Councillor Cupid, thank you. All in favour? Thank you. So all policies accepted en bloc. Thank you. Item 8, there are no urgent items. So we move to item 9, exclusion of public. I move that the public be excluded from the meeting during the discussion of the following items of business to avoid the disclosure to them of exempt information as defined in Part 1 of Schedule 12A to the Local Government Act 1972, as amended by the Local Government Access to Information Variation Order 2006. And they are from agenda items 10 to 13. Do we have a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor Dale. All in favour? Thank you. That's carried. Then the public be excluded